I am a little more cheerful perhaps today. I don't know. I feel a little happy and a little weird. Why? Because I've got some good news. The doctors now feel that they have made considerable progress with me, and of course, I must have made some too. And I might be out of the hospital in a few days. I will be out of the hospital in a few days. So that is something I'm really happy about. I'm also very happy about the fact that I'm going to be able to tell you the final part of the story, which I'm assuming you must all have been waiting for. Even if it were false, do not let me know. That is why we have turned off the comment section, right? See, very smart we are. Alright, so where were we? I was telling you a story from this Russian short story writer, Anton Chekhov, called The Lottery Ticket, right? So this is a story that happened in Russia many, many years ago. And this is a story of a husband and wife. One day the husband was happily sitting after supper and the wife asked him to look at a lottery ticket, the winnings list, because she had bought one. He looked at it and he sees the ticket number 9499, and he immediately drops the paper in shock and he does not look at the series number to see whether they have won. He tells the wife, both of them are shocked, both of them are surprised, they sit in silence. What if they had won? There's a possibility, right? And they're not sure what they would do, so they laugh. They'd never thought of so much money. It was on the line second from the top. So it was 75,000. It was a huge amount of money, and they did not know what they would do with that money. So they kept thinking about it, and then they started dreaming. The husband dreamt about what he would do. He said he would buy an estate, right, with some money, and then he would keep aside some for immediate expenses, and then he would put the rest of it in bank to live on the interest if the ticket were his. He then pictured himself what he would do with that money in that estate, what he would do in summer, autumn, and later in the cloudy season. So in every picture till the cloudy season, he was well fed, happy, at peace. He always had his children around, okay, not disturbing him, mind you, not at all disturbing him. Everything was peaceful. He was happy doing things he wanted to do without worrying about going to the office. Not today, not tomorrow, not the after. Right? Till he came to the season which was all rainy and he could not do the things that he wanted to do, and then he thought he would go abroad. And then he told his wife that I would go abroad. And then she said, yes, I would too. And then, wait, look at the ticket. No, wait. And then he started thinking. By the way, did you notice that in all those happy pictures of the future that he had seen, there was one thing which was very conspicuously absent. There was one thing that was missing. His wife was not there. Do you remember? Whose ticket was it? His wife's. Who is he married to currently and who he is living with? His wife. She was completely absent. Probably making all those delicious dishes that he had eaten and did not have to move a finger for. But he had not pictured her. And all of a sudden, the thought struck him. What if his wife were to go abroad too? Because she said that. It is really pleasant to travel alone. And if one had to travel in the company of people, it's better to go with light, careless women, okay, who actually live in the present moment, who do not complain, okay, about, or who do not think the whole journey about their children, who would sigh and tremble over every amount of money, every little amount of money that is spent, okay. Ivan imagined his wife traveling abroad with him to Naples, to India, to Italy, to the south of France, right, all of that. And he imagined his wife, and she was surrounded by many, many bags, parcels, baskets, carrying all the things he needed to eat probably, but yes, all those bags, okay. And she'd be sighing over something, complaining that her train made her head ache, it is too much, the journey is too much, and she had spent so much money. And at the stations, she would continually ask him to go fetch boiling water, bread, butter, something or the other. She would not get out. He would have to go out and buy things for her. She would not even buy dinner because it is too pricey. See where the thought is going? And he thought, she would grudge me every farthing, every amount spent. And he looked at his wife, despairingly, one glance. The lottery ticket is hers, not mine. Not mine. Besides, what is the use of her going abroad? What will she do there? What does she want there? She wouldn't know what to do. She would actually shut herself up in the hotel room the whole day. And she wouldn't let me out of her sight. So I will also have to be in the hotel room all the time. And for the first time in his life, his mind started thinking. His wife had become very old. She's all very plain. And she completely smelt of cooking. Saturated with the smell of cooking through and through. Remember how well fed he wanted to be. See, who would make all of this? But okay. Saturated with the smell of cooking through and through. While he was still young, fresh, healthy, could have married again, possibly. But give him due credit, huh? Of course, that is all silly nonsense, he thought. But why should she go abroad? What would she make of it? But yet she would go, of course. I can imagine. And in reality, all of those places are the same to her, whether it's Naples or Klin, whether it's Delhi or Calcutta, irrespective. Naples is of course the birthplace of pizza, and Klin is just a province, it's just a place in Russia. It doesn't matter where she goes to her. She would just be in my way, and I would be dependent on her. I can fancy, like a regular woman, what would she do? She'll lock the money up. As soon as she gets it, she'll lock it up. And she will look after her relatives and grudge me every penny, every farthing I ask her. He thought of her relatives. All those wretched brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, all of them, the minute they hear about the money, they would all come crawling about. Okay? What would they do? They would fawn upon them. They would praise them. They would all be so polite to them, nice to them. Okay, they would whine like beggars. You know what? I have this trouble. I have to pay some debt. You know, this happened. My child has to study. I can't pay fees. All of this, they will whine like beggars, and with oily, hypocritical smiles, they would praise us. Detestable people, absolutely, absolutely hateful. And if they were given anything out of pity and out of irritation, and we just want them to stop bugging us. If we give them anything, okay, what would they do? They would ask for more. They wouldn't be satisfied. And if we refuse them, they would curse us and tell bad things about us to other people and will wish us every kind of misfortune. Again, give him due credit. He remembered his own relations too. He thought they were also repulsive. Earlier, he used to think of their faces and he would think of them impartially, neutrally. Not really any hatred, nothing. But now he thought of it, and all of their faces passed through, in front of his eyes. He thought all of them were repulsive, hateful. They're such reptiles, he thought. And his wife's face too. He looked at her and thought of her. His wife's face seemed hateful too. Anger surged up in his body, okay? In his heart against her. Who had the winning ticket. He had anger against her in his heart, and he thought, she knows nothing about money, so she's stingy, she's miserly. If she won it, she'd give me 100 rubles out of the 75,000 and put the rest away under lock and key. He looked at his wife now, not with a smile, but with hatred. She looked at him too, reflecting like a mirror, just like earlier. Remember, she smiled exactly like him? Now, she is looking at him exactly like the way he looked at her, with anger, with hatred. Why? She also had her own daydreams, her own plans, her own reflections. The author is not telling us that, but we can imagine. She understood perfectly well who would be the first person to take the money away from her. Okay? She exactly knew what her husband's dreams were. So her eyes said, even though she is not saying it, her eyes expressed it. It's very nice making daydreams at other people's expense. Don't you dare do that. Her husband, of course they've been married for a while, you don't have to speak anything, you understand looks. Her husband understood her look. Hatred began stirring again in his chest, okay? Which had not died down, it began stirring again. And just to annoy his wife, just out of spite, what did he do? That newspaper, opened it, looked at the number, just so that she would be annoyed. and read out triumphantly, okay? Victoriously. Ha! 9499 series number 46, not 26. There you go. 46. You didn't win. He also didn't win. All of a sudden, two things disappeared. The hatred and the hope. Both. Same time. And immediately, something else replaced it. To both Ivan and Masha, all of a sudden, their rooms looked all small, damp, low-pitched. The supper they had eaten, it was not good for them. It sat heavily on their stomachs. They weren't feeling good about it. And the evening looked all long, tiring. Nothing seemed good. Ivan began to be ill-humored. And he said, "What the devil is the meaning of all of this? Wherever one steps, there are bits of paper under one's feet. Or there are breadcrumbs. Nobody sweeps these rooms. One just has to go out. One is simply forced to go out. Huh. Damnation take my soul entirely. I'll just go hang myself on the first aspen tree I find." He was so angry. And he just went out. That is where the story ends. You see what happens when people actually have hope without allowing themselves to take a look at the reality and without stopping to look at it soon enough. If you dwell on that fantasy for too long, the disappointment is too much. Everything actually seems not so good. Like Auden's funeral blues. Nothing now can ever come to any good. That's how you feel. But you did not look at the lottery ticket, so you can be completely full of hope, and there is always the possibility of winning. Don't you ever forget that. There is always the possibility of winning. Bye bye.